Yeah.
Hola a todos, mi nombre es Forrest Fenn. Escondí un tesoro y lo escondí muy bien. Hola a todos, mi nombre es Forrest Fenn. Escondí un tesoro y lo escondí muy bien. Hola a todos, mi nombre es Forrest Fenn. Escondí un tesoro y lo escondí muy bien. Hola a todos, mi nombre es Forrest Fenn. Escondí un tesoro y lo escondí muy bien.
Okay. Nobody watching yet. But this is my third cousin, 4 times removed, Mark Twain. And he says anyone who can only think of one way to spell a word obviously lacks imagination. And when you're on a treasure hunt, you lack imagination. When somebody says the treasure can be in any of these 4 states, and you can't imagine it possibly being in one of them, that's a lack of imagination. Uh, y- I mean, there's far more possibilities in Colorado than there are in New Mexico or Yellowstone. Um, you people are going by the bold hands. Um, that personally insults them to say they lack imagination too. But yeah, if you can't, if they can't even imagine Colorado, that's not much of an imagination. They can't imagine how he could have possibly drove that 3 hours all the way to Colorado. You know, um, I know Forrest Fenn. He used to travel 500 miles an hour, 600, 700 miles an hour. So you don't know unless you've gone riding with him. You don't know how he drives. He might drive like Mario Andretti. He drives a fighter jet pretty cool. I really like that story where he come down up in Minnesota, up to Duluth or something, and come in, and it was slick or something. He got twisted around backward and he hit the thruster and stopped before hitting the hanger. Yeah, I'd like to see that. I mean, when they do a video, a movie about Forrest Fenn's life, they'll reenact that. You know, they'll do it in CG. See if he gets out and runs to the bathroom. So, yeah, you can't lack imagination, and you know, imagination is more important than what you know from reading the book. There are some things that you find out there in the field that he only talked about. When people used to, my dad used to say, "Oh yeah, you listen to the radio show and you imagine what's happening in your head." You know, that's how they, you know, when you're reading a story, you're imagining these things in your head, what's happening, and you're picturing things in your head. It's your imagination, you know. Hey, helicopters on the side of the hill, and you know, it's helicopter depicted in the landscape. Anybody else got a helicopter in the landscape? Anybody else got some Rockwells depicted in the landscape? No. Anybody else got a Model A cowl? A cowl the same as the one in the Buffalo cowboy car? No. Nobody has anything like that. Anybody else got a picture of the Moses that modeled for the wooden Moses? No. Gee. Anybody else got a rock formation that looks like a Great Pet bottle? No. Anybody else got a picture of a rock formation that depicts a mammoth with a Clovis point in the ribs? No. Anybody else got pictures of rock formations of people depicted holding tombstones? No. Anybody else found ancient artifacts? No. I have. I found all those things. And nobody else has found a one. Not a one. And I've found dozens of things. Is this? Yeah, it's live. Hey, Nikolai. See, I'm live. I'm reading your stuff. Yeah, no other searcher has come up with anything that says this represents that story. Nothing at all. And I have dozens of them. I don't go and find them. I didn't find them when I was up in the Salida area and that stuff. That stuff didn't exist there, but all that stuff exists here. His stories are represented in nature. Find a substitute for the story. There's Vietnam is represented here. You know. Oh, well, the car was in Montana. Well, what's it doing in Colorado? He says in the book, find a substitute. Find a substitute. His father was where he says find in the book are hidden clues. What he's trying to find, or what his father was trying to find. He's trying to find a substitute. What chapter was that? I underline it. There, find a substitute. Page 25, right in the middle of the text in the first paragraph, 3/4 of the way down. He had to leave the breakfast table to find a substitute, and the telephone was clear down at the end of the house. So you're picturing, this area, is there some kind of hallway or little canyon entrance or something? I don't know. But he was trying to find a substitute. So that's what you're doing. You're finding substitutes for his stories and all that. And this is a place that he found while he was when he was living probably in Santa Fe, maybe when he was located in when he was in the military, because if he said he hadn't been back there to West Yellowstone and all that since the 50s. That's when he went in the military. And so after he got out of his dad was still alive and stuff. And living in Texas. Where does dad, we don't know. Did he finish off his life? Yeah, I think he did, because he was talking about flying there. He could fly there. So, this area in the summer is just full of Texans. They all come up here. And, that Model A cow or Model B cow or T cow, whatever model it is, they all look about the same with the gas cap in the, right at between the hood and the windshield there. And he said, "Oh, take it to Texas. Those people like that stuff, sell down there. But I might put it on eBay. It should be worth a whole lot more than one of them coins, And I've got it's painted on there, Thrill of the Chase. It could be redone, I guess, or whatever. But it's the same. It was moved into that field, into the D of the word wood. I mean, if it can't get any clearer that this was set up there, and it matches his stuff. Why was it set up there? Because it matches his story. Okay, and from there I found the skull with the ear and the ear horn. The listen, all hear me good, and him riding on a bird, fly fishing, and his pile of airplanes, Moses, the two Rockwell boys, the same one in two different places. The guy's holding Tombstone in 20 places, and they're holding mammoths. You know, his Colombian his mammoth tusk that he found and all that. That's Clovis. These are Clovis ruins I found, verified by a PhD academic anthropologist. Okay, he said that my stuff, that I'm right. So you little, unless you have a PhD in anthropology, zip the mouth, because you don't know what you're talking about. You know, I ain't gonna put up with little troll hacks that think they're that they can override what the anthropologist says. You know, he just confirmed what I showed him. Yeah, yep, that's what that is. Those, yeah, wow, neat, you know. So, if you don't believe it, then, you know, that's your problem. And I hear they're closing more forest areas. My area's still open, and I believe it's just they can't. And when I go hunting, I'm not lighting fires unless it's a survival mode, and I don't get far enough from the parking or the road to I don't get far enough from my car to really ever be in survival mode. Da, 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 da. When are you gonna go out again? Probably go tomorrow. I wanted to go today, but I gotta go to court for a red light ticket. I was at the line when it changed red. That goes. When I went in for the arraignment thing or whatever, I said, as far as I know, the tie goes to the driver. I think that light was short, and it was short. It was a second short. It is 4.15 seconds, and 45 miles an hour. If you look it up online, 45 miles an hour, 5-second yellow, and they cut it off by a second. They're endangering people's lives, and they accuse me of driving dangerously going through that. When it's the city that's being reckless and putting people in the hospital by making that light short. So it heard some shouting weird stuff over there. There was a white truck went over that way, or out my window out that way. You know, there's a shooting area, but they're not there. Oh yeah, they are. They're right there at the shooting area, but I don't see their truck. It must be in the little over the knoll there. So yeah, there's some guys out there. Oh, they're on bikes. So it's not the guys in the truck, unless they parked their truck over the other side of the hill and rode their bikes there. But there's that. I heard people yelling over there. There are rattlesnakes up here too. No, I'm on the old Spanish Trail. There's On 160, there's some stones standing up, the sculpted stones. Love it, right? Just my kind of spot. But they have like a wagon wheel sculpted on it and some missionaries or something and uh, Coronado maybe. You know, there's some little statues up by the highway. This is old Spanish Trail, and then I'm about a mile back in there away from the highway. So when I turn on my blue LED light strip on the side of my RV, and the sheriff came because somebody reported a UFO. Oh, I think that's why he's got his dog with him, and and it probably came upon a rattlesnake and was probably yelling at the dog to stay away. That's why I don't let my dog run loose here because there's rattlesnakes in the area, and so he's on a 25-foot cable, and then there's even 4 feet of chain on that, and then it's on a 18-foot running line so that 25-foot cable can go to either end of that 18-foot line. So he's got close to 100 feet of and anywhere around the RV. He likes to hang out underneath it, or right now he's sleeping on his bed. um, yeah, Mark Twain's my third cousin, and anyone who can only think of one way to spell a word obviously lacks imagination. And when Forrest says wood in the poem, it's not just the tree or wood. It's anything that can mean wood, and all of them. The things are multiple. There's multiple browns. There's, it repeats, and the symbols are all over the place, and so it's a guessing game. Which of these symbols is the symbol, the blaze? Because there's thousands of blazes. Which one is the final one? There's a primary blaze, preliminary blaze, but then because you read the poem, then you go back and read the book. You're looking at the pictures while you're reading the book. Go back and read the book. Back, he's saying. So you look at the pictures from the back to the front. You read the book from the front to the back. You look at the pictures from the back to the front. And then once you've followed the pictures to the correct blaze, the correct symbol, sign, rocks, carving, sculpture, tree, whatever. And as far as what kind of blaze is going to last for 10,000 years? How long does an aspen tree live? How long does a pine tree live? A redwood tree. There are redwood trees that were around when Christ was gone, but there are none that were around 10,000 years ago. 500-foot blaze. Yeah. There's, so most likely the blaze will be in rock because wood does not last 10,000 years. I think these people may have had structures. Maybe they were probably wooden structures, and they're just rotted away and gone. So if you're looking for a sign that's going to last for 10,000 years, it's going to be in rock, like the pyramids. You don't find any wooden spoons, but they got some chairs and stuff out of the tombs. But there were never any mummies found in the pyramids. The pyramids were not tombs. They didn't even find writing inside them. If you're so, it said, if you are so. If you are so what? Yeah, he said a lot of little tips, little things he says. I posted one on my. I have to remind myself. I go, oh yeah, I got enough in my head now. I can get going, and I don't. you know, but there's a lot going on in there. um, there. So. Oh, the San Juan Forest is stage 3 fire restrictions. So it's going to be closed to the public today until further notice. So, yeah, that's the San Juan Forest. Yeah, so that's part of it. But really, where the home of that's private property, so it's not really the forest anymore. So a lot of the Homer Brown area is but the camping and all around the Homer Brown is all San Juan Forest. So that's closed. You can't go hiking up to the hot spring or anything, you know. But he wouldn't have put it up at that hot spring anyhow. It's a 4.5 mile hike, you know. And that's why he said it's too far to walk. Don't even go there. Go back down the canyon, back down to Brown's place, and get in the car and drive. Because you go down and that's it. People keep refusing to understand the poem. It says you take it in the canyon down, and then there's no paddle up your creek, and then you look quickly down. So you're going down, you're going up, and you're going down again. Okay, so where I don't know where they get it that it's if you're at the Homer, take it in the canyon down, put in below the Homer Brown. So now we've gone down, and this is where the Homer Brown is, down here. Okay, and after that, you're going up, and then you're going down again. So the Homer Brown is not, you've left that behind. It was a bus stop that he didn't leave the treasure there. Yeah, right. They don't see the ups and downs of treasure hunting. One of the ups and downs I'm getting reminded right now is my feet below my calves. I don't have any nerves, feelings. My skin feels like dead leather, to touch. It's like I'm not even. It's like I'm touching something not me, It's not connected. So I know my feet are there, and I know where I'm putting them, and I'm able to get around and stuff. But I don't have any feeling in my feet. Yeah, if I step on a nail or something, it can go on my foot, and I might not know it. But usually, deep things that I get pain deep, but I don't have any senses on the skin of my feet and it's probably because my spina bifida and blocked nerves in my back. They say the doctors call it idiopathic. And you know what the definition of idiopathic is? It means your doctor is an idiot. Your pathologist is an idiot. He's too stupid to figure out what the hell's going on. Yeah, that's what prevented you from completing the quest. Completing what quest? Good luck. First guy, I'll go soon. I understand. Where did you go, Rob? Rob D, 100% in Montana. No, no, it's not Montana. I have too many of the signs are here. The actual signs of things I've actually found that are drawn in his book and talked about in his book. Even that Model A cow from Montana is here in Colorado. It's not there in the field anymore. I found it in the Dia wood and I took it with me. It's like Forrest. He took it with him. He didn't leave it there. Did he take it with him? As in word. Why is the word that is key? No, no, no. Treasure is the word that is key. I found somebody else did find another place with a treasure name, but it wasn't the right one. It has a treasure name, so that puts you in the area. And it relates to the dead Frenchman. It totally relates to the dead Frenchman's treasures. $30 million in bars of gold. That's the hint of riches old. $30 million in French gold. French. Everybody, all the Spaniards and the Apaches and the Navajos and the Utes and you know, the Utes might be the closest to being related to the Clovis, if any, because you know of how long they've been in the mountain. They were the mountain people, and the Clovis people were the mountain people. You know, and if you were the mountain people. Anybody from the flatland come to attack you and you've been living in those mountains for 20 years, you got the advantage because flatland people can't even drive in the mountains. They drive off the mountains and they drive into the creeks and ditches. They slide off the roads. They flip their four-wheel drives. Yeah. People that aren't from the mountains, you got to live in the mountains a while before you know how to drive in the mountains. You know, I come from Florida, everything's just flat, flat. Up in the Panhandles, there's some hills in Florida, but mostly Florida's flat, and they ain't mountains like here. They come here. The last two trucks that went off the overlook, one was two truck drivers from Florida. The last one was another truck driver from Florida. You're going down a mountain. Your brakes are on fire. You got a runaway truck ramp. And a quarter mile after that, you got a straight off the 400-foot cliff. So you make a choice. You do the truck ramp or you go total suicidal maniac, you know? That's what they ought to have. They need a sign by that ramp. It's this ramp or it's suicide. Yeah. Okay, you too there, Nikolai. Fenn poem is a little incorrect now, by the way. Yeah, It's missing that Molly. See, because you had to be brave to ride with Skippy in that car lassoed to a buffalo. You know, he had to be brave, and in the word would, and one reason I took it so nobody knew the exact location of where it was, except for me and Forrest. I don't know anybody else. I haven't run into anybody else that said they had seen it there. The one electric the guy who worked on the power lines and put in power poles had told me that the chassis for that car was about a half mile away and up the hill along the power where the power poles go up the cutaway up the side of the hill. And I went up there, but I didn't see the chassis, so I don't know. Um, I did find a giant oil filter from a tractor with my metal detector, but I didn't find any treasure up there. And the area is so vast, and the signs are all over. You don't know which one is really it. But I do. There's some information in my head that I don't put out, and some things I don't even tell Forrest in case somebody's tapping his email. You know, hey, this is where I'm going, and you know somebody's reading his emails. Then you know it'd be given away. So I kind of hint to Forrest of that I'm at such and such thing that related to such and such, and he should know what that means. So yeah, I'd call that Mammoth Creek. Yeah. And nobody knows because there's so many mammoth sculpture. Nobody knows what Mammoth Creek is to me, but I do. And Forrest might be able to figure it out too. These people made their living by taking people from the western watershed to the eastern watershed, and vice versa over the Continental Divide. That was their thing. That's why the Lewis and Clark relates. Partly is because of the this was the put in and the carry out. If you got a what it's called a carry is they come up the river. Lewis and Clark. Okay, the instructions my fifth great granduncle wrote were to go up the Missouri River to the Shining Mountains. From there, it's a 20-mile carry to the Oregon River that leads to the Pacific Ocean. Now, that 20-mile carry, you have a takeout and you have a put-in. Except, if people are traveling the other direction, this is the takeout and this is the put-in. So the takeout and the put-ins, it's like the takeout. Oh, it's like having one takeout window. They do have one takeout window, but some they got the one where you give them the money and then you put in the cash and then you take out the money. It's the opposite, or the food. So it's the opposite of that. But no, it's called a carry and it's a portage, and so the take in the takeout and the put-ins are at the portage. And I should look for, let's do that live here. Where did my Terry scan go? Oh, there's my thing there. There. We're going to Terry scan. Oh. Enter a keyword search. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how I got to a page with no search bar. Portage. He probably not found. And you see, my other ancestors related Rogers, and and directly, closer related than because these are cousins from uh, closer relationships to me. Like my third great grandfather's cousin, and but he built the Peterborough locks up in Canada that go from Lake Ontario up to, is it Lake Superior or what? Or yeah, it goes across Canada, basically bypasses. Uh, that's Superior down there, huh? But it goes up to Lake Huron or something. It cuts across. It skips one of the Great Lakes. It goes from Lake Ontario and it skips that one lake, and you don't even have to go through Detroit and Windsor because this one comes out up in the upper lakes there because Canada is so flat there. But yeah, my fifth great grandfather James Rogers was the first English mayor of Quebec. And then my ninth great grandfather, he was the governor of Jamaica, first English governor of Jamaica in 1655, and he turned that into a pirate's nest. Just the kind of people Forrest would have liked to met. He wants to go back and be a pirate. Now, it's probably there. How many crew members walk the plank before you ever make pirate? So, there's that. So, the forests are, yep, the San Juan. The Rio Grande forest is in a stage 1. So, but the San Juan is stage 3. And at night, in the evening, right now it's all hazy out there. And in the evening, when the sun gets over the other side of the smoke, you can really see the cloud, and you can look directly at the sun through the smoke cloud. You don't need sunglasses because it's just a dim red ball. I've been taking pictures of it, and I've shared some of those. Yeah, it's a. Anything else? Any good question? Let's see. It's been 7 years now. The Nye and the Meek don't exist no more. Nye. Well, after the Homer Brown lines 5 and 6 doesn't exist anymore. No. 5 and 6. Line 5 and 6. I'll tell you if line 5 and 6 exist. Some of them won't ever go away. Well, they won't ever go away unless some other culture takes over and renames it. 5 and 6. Begin it where warm waters halt and take it in the canyon down. Yeah. Yeah, I'm way you look at those as like bus stops. These are all stops along the way. And where he's talking about them, there are things to see in the rocks. You'll find figures from the stories like the teachers with ropes and stuff. That's near where warm waters halt, and that canyon down. That's I can see in the pictures where there's 2 lines of people that seem to be on a rope. like a chain of shells on a string, but they're people. And is he is he telling you I'm going to string you along? We're going to string you along, and Two people keep a secret if one of them's dead. If you know his secret, he might put you on a rope. You'd be on his hit list. I'm not on Forrest's hit list. But what it's going to be is he maybe he so he knows, so maybe the secret's a secret until he's dead, and then it's not a secret anymore. He passes it on and gives the title to somebody else to carry on. You know, if he's got to give you the title, then I mean, if you found the box of gold, you wouldn't need his title, would you? You wouldn't really need a title. So him having to give you the title before you actually possess it is kind of that says contest. No, he does. It's a 3-hour drive. It's a 3-hour drive, and probably probably 25, no more than a half hour each trip in and out. And, you know, 15 minutes to it, 15 minutes back, 15 minutes back into it, and 15 minutes back. You know, probably an hour of that. So 7 hours, he could do it in 7 hours. Drive from Santa Fe, put it where I'm looking, and been back. If he drives like he flies. Anybody that's gone over the speed of sound isn't afraid of speed. They're not afraid of going fast. They give him a charge. I bet. I wonder what I'd like to his expression the first time that he turned on an afterburner. Yeah, that'd be a thrill. I'd love to go for a ride in a fighter jet. That'd be awesome. I already done the Boeing Stearman, and yeah, I still got that. I got that on some Super 8 video, and I need to transfer it to digital because I don't have anything to play it with. But yeah, I took that ride in 2000. $200 for a 2-hour flight in a Boeing Stearman. That was a blast. I told the guy, "Yeah, I watched Space Cowboys, so I didn't eat anything." I don't get seasick. I got scuba diving. I don't get sick, and been in some getting out of Palm Beach, going out that inlet. You get pretty rough sometimes. And we went scuba diving off the beach of where the Kennedys live and all that. They got some shipwrecks out there. Went 60 feet down. Then we went 120 feet down. There were 2 ships, old little cargo ships with the hole in the deck, and I come swimming up through one of the hatches in the deck, and there's a 6-foot barracuda. I'm looking at the side of the 6-foot barracuda and his big eyeball there looking at me, and I swam backwards, went back down that hole, and went around. It's like, whoa, wow, that's a big barracuda. And I've come around a reef before snorkeling and come up on a school of probably 100 barracuda that were maybe 2-3 feet long, 100 of them, you know, and each of them were 2-3 feet long, and they're all pointed the same direction. And like I said, I was sideways to the side of them. They weren't pointed at me. They were pointed off to the left. And that's another thing. You swim back. You learn how to swim backwards when you see that stuff. I seen one conch shell that was this big. Swear to God, it was like, what's that? 2 feet around, right? And there was another conch that was maybe 8 inches, 10 inches around. And when the big one bumped into the little one jumped like 5 feet. It went. You ever see a snail jump? Yeah, it jumped. It was pretty cool. But yeah, I guess I'm kind of just going off on other subjects. So, except one thing on the weekly review, I noticed that the weekly review was worth bringing up, discussing Buffalo Cowboys and Skippy's car. It was worth discussing that, or their discussion of it, but actually finding it in the wood wasn't newsworthy for a weekly update, you know. Oh, what were those things? No, it was just overlooked, you know. There's a whole lot of gypsy ass kissing. Yeah, and I can't be part of any of that kissing, you know. I have to tell the truth that yes, I'm being ignored. If you mention me on their chat, they'll block you. Other people have said that they get blocked for just mentioning me. So, according to them, I'm the great Satan. You know, I'm the one that we can't even discuss him. We can't even bring up his name. You know, and they got their little Brady Bunch cabal. Afraid to mention me too. Half of them, you know, they're afraid to say anything. You know, it one searcher out there. Heck, if she wants to come out, I'll show her some things up here and what I've found, and show her some of this stuff. And she's got some good points. There's some stuff in the books and all that. And I got the points about, Forrest likes to mess with words. And I just, he likes Mark Twain. Mark Twain's my cousin. And it shows that, Mark Twain talks about imagination and words. And that stuff. There's a group on Facebook now, No Place for the Meek is a new group on Facebook, and Troy runs it, is his name. So he's one with the he has the Why Must I Go, I believe, is his thing on YouTube. Oh, that picture looks almost, nope, that's not my spot. And so, yeah, I don't have, uh-oh. Uh-oh. So, yeah, that might be shut off because of fires, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if you can even go in there a bike, Hey, search me. I won't bring any matches. Yeah, I'm getting new reports from Jessica Berry. Is something about some more national forests or closures. Okay. Okay. So where I don't see anything closed. Added a new photo. Yeah. Okay. Below is a map showing the boundaries of the San Juan National Forest that has closures. Is not Rio Grande National Forest, but does have a Stage 1 fire restriction. South Fork, Del Norte, Creed are not in the San Juan National Forest and are 100% open. So yeah, you can go there, but you cannot have any kind of fire. And I mean, if you're gonna smoke, you smoke in your car, you know, with the windows up. Hola, estola. Yeah. The did I show you guys my book? There's my books. Let me grab them. Oh. This is got dust on it. This is my book. It's a I redid Robert Rogers, my fifth great granduncle's concise account of North America. Back in 2007, I did this. Is that it doesn't have the script S's and I he was like Forrest and all that and yeah, you know, punctuation. We had to get punctuation and a lot of spell correcting and stuff. But this is my fifth great GREAT. People don't hear that T; they think it's fifth grade because, well, okay. If you went past fifth grade, you might know about what fifth great grand uncle means, or fifth great granduncle is your fifth great grandfather's brother. So that's who he is. He's my fifth great grandfather's brother. And he's the one that wrote the instructions that Lewis and Clark took with them to find the Northwest Passage. And that's why the movie Northwest Passage with Spencer Tracy playing Robert Rogers is called Northwest Passage. Because Robert Rogers, see, there's my name right there at the bottom. And on the back. That was my first book I did. And then 2 years later, I published the, I read my my sixth great grandfather, the sister-in-law. Okay, so my fifth great grandfather was James Rogers. This is his brother, and Reverend David McGregor was my fifth great grandfather's father-in-law, his wife's father. He married Margaret McGregor, and I have letters. I have a letter from 1797 from one of my Rogers, my fourth great grand aunt and fourth great granduncle from 1797, mailed from Boston to Goffstown or something, New Hampshire, you know. But this has 7 sermons that were only in special libraries that you had to go in and read with gloves and stuff. And they let me photograph the pamphlets with the sermons, and then I retyped all of them in the book, and I made the beginning of each chapter, you know, look like the cover of the book, but I added the, you know, I fancied it. It had decorations and stuff, and I used a close font with some fancy characters for the first, head letter. Um, so there you go. That right there relates to the gypsies. They're passing out false information, and they're discrediting the only person that really knows where the treasure is, and so they're just the blind leading the blind, basically. Let's see, and there we go. The true believer that's gonna find the treasure will be secure. These are all written by a direct ancestor, and I went to his house in East Derry, New Hampshire, and I found the house, and I kind of trespassed, went on the property and took pictures. The rancher was out the farmer was out in his field plowing his field. Out beyond the house and stuff, and I got up there, hey, got his attention. He finally came over, and I asked him if hey, can I measure the house and stuff, and so I can draw it, because I know how to draw in 3D in CAD, and I could draw the house. I could make a 3D model of the house that my ancestors lived in, and he couldn't let me measure the house. He was such an ass. Oh, we're getting ready to tear it down. And 5 days later it was torn down. I went back, trespass again, and I took one of the timbers from it, and it was like full of wormholes, but the wood was hard as rock. And so I had a friend make a cross out of one, and one of the things broke off and glued it back on, like Forrest and his Moses, But I still got a good chunk of that. It's like a 4x4, maybe 2 feet long, But it's old wood from house built in 1735 in New Hampshire. And what's another chapter here? Let's see. There's the end of that one. And he has his, one of the last ones in there. But, yeah, I did this in 2009. And I tell you what, I have a publisher, and the publisher of these, see, it's Heritage Books. I need to tell them, somebody got to tell them, give me my royalties for the last 7 years or 6 years. They haven't given me my royalties for 6 years. So they owe me some money. And they lie about it, because I see it all over the Amazon and stuff. And publishers are some of the crookedest people on the planet. I'll tell you that. They don't tell the person how many books they really printed. They should be required to disclose to their how many books they printed. How many for each author, so it's all accounted for, because they're ripping off the people that wrote the books. And they're thinking, oh well, we printed it, we made the physical book. All they did was contribute the words. So I make like $2.30 a book when they sell one. And yeah, they gotta owe me a couple $100 at least, but an Amazon Kindle, I'm supposed to, I put them on Amazon Kindle, and it goes for $9.99 instead of $23. and Amazon Kindle's supposed to give me 75%. This is 750, you know? So, but all I've ever seen from Amazon is 12 cents, 14 cents, because they're letting people read this stuff for free with their Amazon whatever, and then they're giving you a fraction of what you would have got if you know, it's like, no, you sell my freaking books, you jerks, and give me my full royalties. I had a CD repair kit company. I came up with a way to take scratches out of CDs so they played again. And I developed this kit. My dad and uncle invested, and you know, they had a couple $100,000 in it. And what happens? The people that I bought the solution from ran to another corporation and said, "Look what this guy's doing. They did what I was doing. Put me and my dad and uncle out. You know, their investment went down the tube, and they went with some, and they're selling $1 million a year of them. You know, and then there's nothing you can do because you used somebody's product to start a service and market it as something that works for something else, and then somebody else go, oh well, I'm going to profit on that, not you, and you get nothing. You get ripped off. So yeah, Dishwasher, the big corporation in Lake Mary, Florida, ripped off my idea for CD repair kits. They're a crooked corporation. And really it was my supplier went to them and showed them the one I made, and then they made it, and they totally screwed me. I'd have millions in the bank by now. And after that, I don't trust corporations. I don't trust publishers. You know, I did these books long after that, and I don't trust the publishers. I don't trust corporations. And you can't trust basically anybody in the world. And I'm sure Forrest knows that too. There aren't many people you can trust, you know. And yeah, like who are you gonna trust to keep the treasure whole? I'll keep the treasure whole, you know. That's why all these people, oh well, if I find a treasure, I want this out of it and that, and I'm gonna give that to the. As soon as you take one piece out of the treasure, its value drops to 1% of what it was. As soon as you take one piece out of there, its value you just screwed over your possible income. You don't even have to sell the treasure. You earn money off of exhibiting it. The exhibition fees will give you more about what the treasure's worth every year. If you sold the treasure, you might get $2.5 million. If you used it to exhibit it, you might get $2.5 million a year to exhibit it. So, what do you want? $200 one time, 200 or $2.5 million one time gross windfall, or do you want $2.5 million a year perpetually? You know, that's going to make you a lot more money. You know, if you don't find a museum that'll pay that much, there are casinos that'll pay that much. And when the casino's tired of it, then you can go to the museum. And by the time the casino's tired of it, the museums will want to pay that much for it. You know, so it just moves from one to the other. You can go on a world tour, museum exhibition around the world, stuff like that. Any artifacts from some You don't want to return any artifacts to countries they came from. Actually, you'd probably want to keep them separate from it until the treasures left that country again. You'd have to have special arrangements. You'd put replica with it. But yeah, I am late. Yeah, wait. Yeah, because I was about done. I'm trying to finish. I'm trying to finish. Save my breath. Nothing is forever. All. Yeah. Um, I've been curious about the significance of a home run. I don't know why capitalize, but it seems important enough to maybe start it. Homer Brown is where the those gypsies in the book, the gypsies in the book, not the imposters on YouTube. The real gypsies are in the book, you know, and those gypsies are on the hill above the entrance to the home of Brown, who was David Jennings Brown. After he died, his collection of bronze was sold for $1.3 million. And Forrest was probably the closest professional bronze dealer to the home of Brown. I'm sure he bought some from Fred Harmon too, maybe. Was Fred Harmon's place just a museum, or was it a gallery too? Did he sell stuff? I don't know. When I went by, the sign says closed. Since he died, I think they closed the Fred Harmon Museum and Gallery, and I think it's for sale. And I sent Forrest an email, let him know that the Fred Harmon Museum was likely up for sale, or he might be able to acquire it, or, you know. And because Forrest would love something like that. He tried acquiring other museums. And I'm wondering, did he sell his gallery because he thought he was going to die of cancer, and then he didn't die, and so he's going, why did I really sell that? You know, so maybe he was, and he said his other books didn't really publish many and stuff, but I want to see if I'm going to find a copy of the Kivas of San Lazaro on, or anything Forrest has on that, on the library loaner list, and I'll get it sent to the professor I know here at Adams, and have him read over it and suggest to him, hey, you know, Forrest, the old guy, give him his honorary, you know, for his work at San Lazaro and what he sent me to find up here. Well, he sent all of you to find it, but you didn't find it. I found it. I found his treasures. Yeah, I found his trove scattered in the forest. Some of it put in below the home of Brown, and some of it on the way to Tired and Weak, and some of it near where Warm Waters halt, and some of it where Moses parts the Rocky Mountains. And I don't know. But he also says, think about where he started, right? And where he started was, my career started early with soda pop caps. My career started early with soda pop caps. That's where he started. So, look at soda pop caps. Gosh. You know, a soda pop cap and a pie tin, you know. A soda pop cap and the pie, you know how the pies are pinched all the way around That's kind of how a soda pop cap looks, like it's pinched all the way around. They look similar, you know, and you're looking for shapes and stuff. You're looking for the balls of string, the soda pop cap. Things represent soda pop caps. The substitutes for soda pop caps, rocks that look like soda pop caps, rocks that look like soda bottles, rocks that look like jar. Oh, like King Tut was in a tomb. It was a rock and it had a lid on it. Is that really a tomb or is that a jar? Was King Tut in a jar or was he in a tomb or a sarcophagus or what do you want to call it? Was he in a bottle? Because King Tut, is, you know, they're shaped like a body. It's kind of a bottle. It has a figure, you know. So soda bottles had a figure. Soda cans are just straight round cylinders, you know. But a soda bottle had a figure. Yeah, it could have been looking the shape, you know, interpreted as a King Tut-like sarcophagus, a jar, a bottle, a container, a vessel. All of those things are related. You got to look at what's, you know, what's a jar? What's a bottle? A bottle's a vessel. A jar is a vessel. So is a box is a vessel. So is a ship. Yeah. So there's 6 degrees. There's 6 degrees of separation and all that stuff theory, and there's relationship. You can draw relationships between and but when everything is like so compounded, it's not confirmation bias. It's confirmation overload. There's all the confirmations are there, and it's everywhere. And okay, you go to the carnival, and there's all of these balloons on the wall, and each one has a piece of paper in there with your prize, right? Well, Forrest Fenn, he's got all these balloons that one of these symbols that are there on the canyon wall or in nature are one of those balloons. But those balloons represent the thousands of symbols that are scattered through this part of the forest. And identifying the symbol out of the multitude of symbols that he's given you all kinds of things to look for, you know, mammoths, arrowheads, women, rafts, rivers, mountains, meadows, belly-high grass, all of these symbols that you're looking for. 300-foot meadows with belly-high grass. Did that ever catch anybody? The dang wood is made up of 300-foot meadows of belly-high grass. And you don't get it. Reminds him of Vietnam. These cliffs remind him of the escarpment that he landed up against and came down through the tree. And there's, oh God, one tree leaning up against the cliff, and is that I got to look at the base of that tree that's leaning against the cliff. Okay, so you know what I got a dozen places. You know, there's lots of good targets, but finding the correct target is what's difficult, because there's an overload of symbols to be looking for, and there's an overload of symbols existing there in the field that dozens of them tell you this is the place, except they're, you know, quarter mile, half mile, mile apart. They're miles apart, and they're scattered all over through this along this bus route. I call the treasure route is look at it like a bus route, and you're coming along the Canyon Down bus stop, the Homer Brown bus stop, the No Paddle Up Your Creek bus stop, No Place for the Make bus stop, the Heavy Loads bus stop, the Water High bus stop, the Take It to Its Ceases bus stop, the Wood bus stop, the Model A bus stop. It just keeps going along, okay? And at one of these, and as you find these symbols, you're progressing and you're hoping that it's not back at one of those, that because I'm finding these symbols continuing on, the other symbols that are in his stories, I'm finding more symbols along the route, that it continues and at a certain point it ends. His rainbow begins and his rainbow ends. So you're looking for the beginning. The way I got on this whole thing was searching for the beginning of his rainbow. And if I figured if I find the beginning of his rainbow, I could find the end of his rainbow. And I didn't even get to the beginning of his rainbow, and I found the water high. So, but it's not the only water high. It's not the only wood. There's not only one omega. There's more than one brown. There's the brown with the capital B, and